There was once in a faraway country where few people have ever traveled, a wonderful church. It stood on a high hill in the midst of a great city. And every Sunday, as well as on sacred days like Christmas, thousands of people climbed the hill to its great archways. When you came to the building itself, you found stone columns and dark passages and a grand entrance leading to the main room of the church. This room was so long that one standing in the doorway could scarcely see to the other end.
Give us an extra set. So we're just gonna put up some of our pictures on here and see what kind of things we remember. So everybody's gonna get to help. Let's start. Let's see. Elizabeth, do you want to put the star in the sky? What was special about that star?
Because those are shepherds.
They were shepherds. And how did they know to go look for the baby Jesus?
Because of the star.
Because of the star. And how else? Someone came and told them. Do you know who told them? An angel came and told them. And where did the angel say that they would find the baby?
In Bethlehem. In a manger.
In Bethlehem. Yep, in a manger. Jordy, do you want to help put the baby Jesus up?
Yeah.
In the manger? Okay, here's the manger. He needs some hay to lay on. Can you put some hay on there for him? Let's see. Okay. Put some hay on top of the manger so he has something comfy to lay on. Okay, gonna put the baby in his little bed right there. Good job. Okay. So, Alex, who brought presents to the baby Jesus?
Wise men.
The wise men. Do you know what the presents were?
Silver and gold.
Gold. Good job. And
copper. No.
copper.
It's frankincense.
Frankincense. Emily, will you come put one of the wise men up here?
What is frankincense anyway?
Like a.
It's a really fancy
Put
spice.
one of the wise men up
It's
here.
really, really rare.
If we're gonna get technical for Ryan purposes, we don't know how many wise men there were.
Do we know they brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh, or was that just a?
Oh, it's myrrh.
We know that they brought that. That's why they say there were three, but we don't know.
It's gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Probably a big caravan with him.
It said there's three, but
Okay,
why?
I think the baby Jesus needs a mom and a dad.
Justin, or two up there.
Baby Jesus needs a mom and a dad. Who's baby Jesus' mom?
Mary.
Mary. Who wants to put
And
Mary
she's
up?
actually my daughter.
Who hasn't had a turn? Does everybody have a turn?
I haven't.
Okay, come put Mary
I
up.
don't want to put it. Can I put Mary?
Okay, you can put Mary up.
Oh, fine. I put Joseph. I want to put Joe Precious. You really have to turn
Mary and Joseph
You
are
have
in
to
here.
turn Joseph.
Yeah, they came a few years
You
later.
guys took about 2 years later. So
We're just imagining.
By an Austrian priest. The words were written by this priest, and then he took them to his, what they call a headmaster, and he said, can you write a melody? Can you write the music for this song? And it was Christmas Eve, and he said, I really don't want to because our organ isn't working, and all we have is a guitar, and I really don't want the guitar played in the church. And but he went ahead and did it, and so when people would come into the church, they could hear this guitar playing Silent Night, and it was the first time they had ever heard it. And it really touched their hearts, and that's kind of where Silent Night started, and it went from there. Well, there have been at least a couple of occasions when a war was stopped because of a Christmas song. And in the 1870s, this was the first time, it was called the Franco-Prussian War, and there was a big battle going on, and basically it was heard someone singing "O Holy Night," and when they heard that singing, the guys on the battlefield stopped, and the war stopped momentarily so they could listen to this song. And then the next time this happened was in World War I. Has anybody ever heard of World War I? A long time ago. This is like 1914. This is a long time ago.
This is before Grandma was born.
This is a long time ago. 1914. And does anybody know who was fighting? Does anybody know? World War I. Grandma knows who was fighting in World War I. Okay, Josh?
Americans versus someone.
Well, Americans were in it. And the British against the Germans. Yeah. Well, at that time, before that war started, a lot of the young men that lived in Germany and a lot of the young men that lived in England were friends. And some of them were going to school together in Germany, or they might be going to school together in England. But once the war broke out, then all the German boys went over to Germany and all the English boys went back to England, and then they ended up having to fight each other on the battlefield, which was very awkward. And there was a guy, their Secretary of War in Britain, he decided that in order to help get a whole bunch of soldiers on the field, he would let whole villages of boys join together. And the good of that is that the boys could join together and go fight together as friends. And so it's kind of like in a way our National Guard, where they would let, like in our town in Manti, they'd let all these guys just go fight together. Now the bad part that happened is there were times when these whole villages of boys or young men would go and fight, and then they would all get wiped out. So an entire town might lose 50 or 100 young men in one battle. And so it'd be devastating to a small town. But as these battles would go on, this World War I battle was a new battle. It was a hard battle because what would happen is that they would go into these big open areas to fight, and there was a new invention called the machine gun where they could shoot across these wide areas, and they weren't used to this in battles before. And so what they did to hide against the machine guns is they would dig these big trenches. And do you know what a trench is? What's a trench?
presents the North Pole! If it's penguins you expect of you, you surely haven't guessed. They'll live down at the other end. With a little luck, we'll be on time. There's no need to stress, because that's the way things happen on the Polar Express. That's the sound of the singing. I'll check my manifest. You can be our guest. Coaster, the Polar Express. Next stop, 11344 Edbrook Avenue. Next stop, 11344 Edbrook Avenue. That is not a toy, young man. Young man, that is not a toy. Take your seats, please. Take your seats.